Welcome to another episode of Breathe More. For today's episode, I wanted us to reflect on our job. Whatever you do for work, maybe you have your own business, maybe you're an employee, maybe you don't even work full time, but the workplace tends to be a place where we really get activated. I have so many people who join my mastermind group, who work with me one on one, who are completely dissatisfied with their job. And it's a big stressor in their life. And a lot of times they feel that by getting a new job, that's going to solve their problems. But what I've seen is that unless we really identify what is the problem here, sometimes it might be an easy fix like that. But a lot of times, what ends up happening is the same situation that they're currently struggling with at their job today, when they go to the new company, it comes up again. The bullying comes up, the boss who's abusive, the disrespect, the burnout. And so I like to help my clients identify what is really going on. What are some of the patterns, behaviors within yourself that's showing up in the work environment that isn't supporting you? And also, is there a different way that we can view what's happening where it's not through the lens of trauma and activation? That's something that I want us to explore today. This came up because in my mastermind groups, it's as a topic of conversation. But also, last week and this week, I've had two very cool opportunities where I was invited to do these videos for a company. And they were really impressed with my work. It was creating content on the spot. It was a video shoot and a photo shoot as well. On the spot, I had to come up basically with some guided practices, meditations. And yesterday, I was interviewed for a very big podcast where actually a doctor is the host of the podcast. And I talked about breath work. And by the end, they were really impressed as well by how concisely and effectively I was able to communicate the message, and also just like how confident and professional I came across. So, all of this, these experiences that I had, and my ability to perform, let's just say, well, with these two opportunities is because all of my years of experience that I've had as an actress and also working behind the scenes in casting. So it made me reflect in my career, since I was a struggling actress for so many years, I had to have a lot of survival jobs, a lot of jobs that I truly did not like, jobs where at the time I felt like they were a waste of time, jobs that I was ashamed of, jobs where I couldn't believe that I was doing. Like there was this one time where I was working for a casting director, but the job she had required me to cold call, kind of like a telemarketer, cold call owners of a certain car maker. And when I would call them and they would answer the phone, a lot of times they would be angry and they would hang up. How did you get my number? I hated it. I kept asking myself, how did I get here? Like, I'm a UC Berkeley graduate. I'm smart. Here I am bothering people. Like, what is this? I feel like I'm invading their privacy. But all of these jobs have prepared me, even this telemarketing job, have prepared me for the life that I have today and also for the life that I'm creating for myself in the future. When I look back and I'm able to acknowledge the skills that I learned, how even in my jobs of being a promo girl, selling alcohol at supermarkets in the middle of nowhere, that was practice for me, for the work that I'm doing today of holding space for people. Because rarely did I actually talk about the alcohol. Really, people just came up to me and unloaded their problems. And I just held space for them. I made them feel heard and seen. And so, if today your job is a big stressor, maybe you don't like it, Maybe you're having a really difficult time. I have a couple things that I would like us to do as a way to make your current circumstances a little bit more manageable and tolerable. And maybe even after doing this exercise, you're going to realize, oh, okay, it's actually not that bad. Or you might decide, actually, it's still really bad. I need to get out of this job ASAP. So that's going to be my motivation for me to look for a brand new job. Currently in my mastermind group, I have one woman who just interviewed for her dream job. She didn't end up getting it. And then in her current job, there's just a lot of tension and she's burnt out. She's feeling taken advantage of. She's not feeling appreciative. She's been asking for support and they're not giving it to her. So she's fed up and it has really affected her. So I'm helping her, and also the other women in the group are helping her to be okay with what's currently happening and not take it so personally. That's something as well that a lot of times happens in our job. If we take a moment to reflect on the dynamics in our job, coworkers, bosses, I always like to ask the question, do these people, the way they speak, the way they interact with you, how supportive or not supportive they are, has this happened at any other time in your life? Do these people remind you of anyone else? And a lot of times, there is the connection. Oh, actually, yeah, the way that my boss is totally reminds me of my dad. Or this chaotic situation reminds me of my romantic relationships. Like there always seems to be chaos following me. So, what is that really about? What beliefs, identities, stories are within you that's projecting that, attracting that, manifesting that into your life? So, the first mindset tip that I have for you regarding shifting your perspective on your current work situation is reframing what's going on. Reframing is such a powerful tool that I use every single day in my life. If I am feeling anxious, if I'm feeling upset, I don't immediately switch out of it. I let myself, in a safe way, express it, feel it, and then I start to do the digging work. So, how else can I view what's happening? So, perhaps right now you're not at your dream job, but are there certain things about your job that you can appreciate? Have you learned anything from this job? Are there new skills that you have acquired? Are you working towards a leadership position? Are you being challenged? This is shifting to a place of gratitude. As difficult as that may be when things are really hard, it is a really powerful reframing your perspective and feeling gratitude for what you currently have in your life will bring so much inner peace into your world. So maybe the only thing that you can think of right now, given your job situation, is that it is bringing some stability financially into your life. So you don't have to worry about that. It makes it more tolerable as well, just being there. I have another woman who earlier this year, she was in my mentorship program, which is a program for entrepreneurs who are starting out their wellness businesses, healing businesses. And she has a job that she does not like. It's boring. She's not challenged, but it's also really simple. And so I invited her to shift her perspective around this job in, again, viewing it as this job is giving you the financial stability and also allowing you to invest in yourself and invest in your business so that soon you can do full time the work that you want to do. And it took quite a bit of reframing around this job. But today, there isn't that emotional charge around the job. She just shows up, does it. She has a lot of free time at this job too. So she's actually getting paid at her job. Don't tell her boss. Getting paid while she's working on her own business. How cool is that? So the minute she started to shift that and look at the stuff that she's benefiting from being at this job, it just freed her up. She shows up again with more ease and confidence and none of this additional expectation. It just is what it is, and that's it. And she's making the best out of it. My second tip is to set boundaries at your job and also to make sure and make a priority that you're taking care of yourself outside of your work. So here's where some of our trauma responses get activated, where perhaps you're over delivering at your job. I have so many clients in my mastermind where they are working beyond the 40 hours a week. They're working on the weekends, they're working late at night, they're answering emails at any time. They're always make themselves available. And they're doing the job of what 3 people should be doing, but they don't tell anyone. All management knows is that the work is getting done by one person. And they don't know necessarily that they're working 80 plus hours a week. And so I have coached them into communicating, hey, I need additional support. I'm starting to feel burnt out. I'm working really long hours, basically pulling back the curtain. I tell them that unless we communicate this and unless we set some boundaries for ourselves, the managers, your bosses, the company may not even know that you're struggling because you're coming across as you have it all figured out. And so that can be a trauma response because there could have been something that happened in your earlier years where you just had to do it all by yourself, where it wasn't safe to ask for help, where it wasn't safe for you to speak up and say, I can't do this. Or maybe when you did, you got in trouble. And so sit and reflect. Which part of you is having a hard time with boundaries and saying, hey, when it's 5 p.m., I'm no longer working. And then some of you might be saying, but Anna, I'm the only one that can do this job. So if I shut down my computer at 5 p.m., that means that tomorrow I'm going to have that much more work. And the thought of that really stresses me out. So even resting or ending the day at a decent time, I can't fully rest because all my mind is doing is thinking about the piling work that isn't getting done. I totally understand that. I don't have a boss. I'm my own boss. But that's also my experience as an entrepreneur. So again, if people don't know that you've been assigned way too much work for you to handle and you keep performing, then they're not just going to automatically volunteer the help. So I'll give you an example. One of my clients in Mastermind, she's actually in the 3rd round right now of Mastermind. And last year we worked on this where she was working insane hours. Bosses didn't know. And I challenged her to communicate and be vulnerable because she was in a high level position and let them know what type of support she needs in order for them to do the job effectively. That things are falling through the cracks because there's too much work and it's really impossible for her to do all of this in addition to being in meetings all day long. Like her work is not getting done. And so because she was vulnerable enough, and we got her to a place where there was safety in it and she was willing to receive a no. I always tell people that as well. Like, you might as well just ask. The worst thing that's going to happen is that they say no and you're in the same situation, and then you can make a decision based on that, as opposed to just being resentful or feeling like, why don't they see all of this work that I'm doing? Why aren't they appreciative? Because everyone else is consumed with their own stuff, with their own stressors, with their own trauma. So we got to communicate. We got to maybe not work all of these hours. Set boundaries for yourself. So she communicated it, and then she ended up getting the support. She was able to hire a couple more people to help her. And she's still in a place right now where she needs to like reassess because she's at a startup and it's just really intense and stressful. But life is always going to be stressful, no matter if you have your own job, you work for someone, you go to a different company, like stress has always come up. So that goes to the second part of this, taking care of yourself outside of work, making it a point to carve out time to rest, to let go of all of the stressors that your job is currently bringing into your life, to bring some joy. What is the point if all we're doing is working and then on top of it, we're miserable, even if maybe perhaps you're making a good living? But what is the point if at the end of the day, you're not enjoying life? The things that really light you up, the connection with people that you love, taking trips, eating amazing food, going to the beach, reading a book, volunteering. If you don't dedicate time to those things that bring you joy, what is the point? So make it a priority to block off time, put it in your calendar, set an alarm to do those things that make you feel good. And having more of a balance is also going to help you in your workplace. And having that balance also will help with your job not becoming your sole identity. Rather, there's more things that you do and more things that you can talk about. And then my last tip, if you're in a situation where work is really stressful and you're unhappy, is to cultivate the growth mindset. The growth mindset does not stop you just because something is hard or you failed or things didn't turn out the way you had hoped for. You view any challenge and setback, any results that weren't desired, as an opportunity to learn from it and grow from it. And also as a way for you to learn something about yourself. So using it as an opportunity for personal development. So instead of dwelling on the negative things about your job, what about focusing, okay, if I'm currently struggling with this, is there anything that I can do to maybe improve my skills? I have had clients whose jobs pay for the coaching programs that I offer as personal development. So does your job have that perk where they can pay for courses or coaching or therapy or anything to help you grow skills, improve in the workplace, and also just making it a priority for yourself where right now the situation isn't ideal, but thinking about where do I want to be in the future and what do I have to do to get there? So let's start working towards that. Let's make that a priority and let the job be whatever it currently is. But keeping your eye on what you're working towards. By adopting a growth mindset, you'll be better equipped to face challenges that are happening right now and in the future, and it builds a really strong foundation for your success. So remember, even if you're currently at a job that you don't like, there's always something valuable to be gained. Embrace the experience, maintain a positive mindset, and prioritize your personal growth. And also, let's start taking action towards finding a better suited job for you. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope that you found these tips helpful and it helped you release some of that stress and pressure that your job has been putting on you mentally, emotionally. Feel free to reach out if you're looking for support. I did open up my calendar through the end of the year for one-on-one private sessions. So if you want to hop in, book a call, and let's move some energy on it. You'll also be able to get a taste of how I hold space and give you some coaching and insight and energy healings. So you can go to my website, annalilia.net, to book that. And until next time, keep breathing. All right, I'll connect with you real soon. Bye.